it is undefined.
Okay. So what ways that undefined value get be assigned to that variable? How that variable will get undefined only? Why not null or blank screen or something? Blank value.
Uh, so it's part of hoisting, like if we have the variable, say var, we declared var a in line number
Mhm.
10, and we are using it before it, we are calling it. So the variable still exists, but it has a value called undefined. That's the way JavaScript behaves.
Okay. So, okay. So if I create a variable with a let, then what will happen?
It will not be hoisted, so it'll throw an error that the variable
Okay.
doesn't exist.
So, okay. So if I create one variable with a let at line number one, and if
Mm.
I assign that variable with a new value at line number five, so what, do you know about the temporal dead zone of the variable?
Like in between these statements, like from the place where the variable has been declared to the variable assignment.
So it is applicable for where as well.
Mm, no, let and const has this, but var is a global scope variable, so it has its thing before itself.
So where is a global scope?
Yes, I mean functional scope.
And if I want to create a variable as a global scope, then how can I create?
Create it at the top level using var.
No, I'm saying I want to
Mm,
create a global variable.
mm, no, I'm not sure.
Okay. So if I want to create a global variable, so we don't have to pass where let anything. It will be global.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So what is the reference error in the JavaScript?
Like if you're referencing a variable which doesn't exist, like in the case of let, if we are referencing it before it is declared, then it throws a reference error. Or if you don't have that variable at all.
Okay. So, yeah. So do you know how the inheritance happens in the JavaScript? How it works?
Mm, yeah, I think yes.
Okay. Can you please tell me about it?
Mm, like if we are extending anything, it inherits all its parent um, properties.
How we
Uh, uh,
extend?
prototype, using prototypal inheritance, like
Okay.
the object dot prototype equals to.
Mhm. So what exactly prototype does?
It inherits all the properties of the parent one.
Okay. Any other thing about prototype? What it does exactly?
Mm,
Okay, suppose
mm,
you have an
mm,
object, okay? In
mm,
that
mm,
you have first name and last name only, and you want
mm,
to add new key in the variable in that object. So how can you add that?
mm. Object dot uh, assign or object dot add. I think.
No. See, you have first name and last name with a name,
Mm,
oh, sorry, the person object, okay? And you want to add now contact number to it. So three will be key over there, first name, last name, and contact in the
mm,
object itself.
yes.
Object. No need to create another object, that I'm saying. So how can you add dynamically a new key in the object that I'm asking?
We can directly say person dot contact equals to this one.
Yes. So this is the example of prototype.
Okay, yeah.
Because of that prototype, we can able to access all this thing.
Add. Mm.
Okay. So what is this in the JavaScript?
It refers to the context actually, like with the object that we are calling or so.
Okay. Any other thing?
Mhm.
What is the problem with this?
Uh, Problem with this in the sense like for example in the class, if we have a class and if we have some functions in it, we need to explicitly bind this to that function to access I mean when you have created an instance for it, then using that instance, if we have to call that function, then we have to bind this.
Okay. 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 So what is promise all?
Uh, Promise all is one of the construct that is used like it returns another promise, either resolves or reject. Either it resolves or reject based upon all the promises it has. It takes array of promises. Like only if all of them resolves, then it will also resolve. It just waits or it just sees if one of the promise rejects, then it entirely rejects.
Okay, so in that case, suppose you have five promises, okay, and the
Hmm.
first one get failed.
So
Okay,
it fails.
so yeah, yeah, so it will fail, correct. So what you will get value of the all of the five or only one?
Only when it says rejected one.
Okay, okay. So do you know the use of async await?
Yes, to call the function asynchronously, I think.
Okay,
And wait
so
on that call. Yeah.
mhm. So await we have to use default as while calling a synchronous function or something waiting for the async function.
Yes, async and await are together, and we need to use. If we are using async, then we need to use await inside it.
Okay, okay, correct. So if I want to get some data from the backend with
Mm.
the JavaScript only, I don't
Mm.
use any other package or anything. So how can I do that?
Like, uh, create async function, and inside it we need to await, and we can use I think fetch API, or
Mhm.
if we are using jQuery, then $.get.
Okay, yes, correct. Okay, so why we do need a arrow function in the JavaScript? What are the benefits over the normal function?
Arrow function, it's similar to kind of any function, but it is a another way of representing, like it's a better, I mean a concise way of representing a function, but it has the benefit of this keyword, like it doesn't have its own this, but it takes the this from its context from which it is called.
Okay, any other use of this, not the this, not the
Mm.
arrow function. So
Mhm.
is arrow function also going to hoist?
Arrow function going to no, it will not.
So I'm pasting some small code in a chat. So
Mm.
just tell me so what it will be.
X10 y 100.
Okay, and still it is a constant object, then can we do?
Yes, object and arrays, it's like if you're creating it references to that memory
Hmm.
allocation. So within that memory allocation, if you are changing anything, that should be.
Yes. Okay. I'm pasting some small code again. So yeah.
Not function. Function console dot log of 10 0. Okay. Let console. Okay, first for loop will be executing. It returns 0, 1, 2,
Hmm.
and then the set timeout 10 will come.
Okay, and why?
Because set timeout is asynchronous, it will be pushed to the event loop, and like the JavaScript will run from one after the other all the lines. So it moves to the for loop next, and it runs it, and because it doesn't find any other line or any other thing post that, it brings the set back into the call stack, and then it runs this.
Yes. Okay. So have you heard about event delegation in JavaScript?
Mm, yes, like if
Mhm.
we have a event on the parent, then we can access it from the child target. We can, I mean, for example, if in a list elements or all the list elements, if I have written a event on the main parent on the list ul or something, then if I click on, for example, if I have written a click event, if I click on
Mhm.
the li item, then I can get that the event has been triggered on that particular target item, and I can get the target name.
Okay. Okay. So what is immediately invoked function in JavaScript?
If you write a function and add after that function the parenthesis, then you are invoking that function immediately. Like wherever you are defining it, you are immediately invoking that function rather than calling that function somewhere else
Okay.
to execute that function.
Okay. So any other use of this?
Use means I'm not sure, but like if we want to invoke anything immediately, yes, we can use it.
Okay.
Like
So
if we don't want to reuse that function somewhere else.
okay. So if we have one variable inside immediately invoke function,
Hmm.
okay, suppose x equal to 10,
Okay.
but before moving to different page from that page, you have to update that value with x equal to 15. How can you do that then?
I didn't get you. Like
Okay,
within
see,
that function, I will update it.
no, see, oh, you have immediately invoke function, okay.
Mm.
Inside that you have one variable where
Okay.
x equal to, sorry, let x equal to 10, okay.
Okay.
So as soon as that file runs, that page runs, it will assign that value to let. Okay.
Yes.
Now what I'm asking, when you are navigating to different page or
Mm.
something, you want to update that value with x equal to 15. So that I'm asking, how can we do that? Can we access that let variable from immediate invoke function?
I think no, we cannot.
Do you know what is closures?
Yes.
Okay, what it is?
Like if we have a function inside another function, then the inner function remembers its scope
Hmm.
always from where it has been declared. So it remembers the outer variables as well, even if I have called somewhere else.
Okay, so can we use closures for that?
Yeah, I think yes, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe call that inner function somewhere else to change that let variable value.
Yes. Okay. What is debouncing and throttling?
I'm not sure. I haven't
No
used it.
problem. No problem. Okay, we'll move to HTML.
Okay.
So tell me, what is the difference between session storage and local storage?
Like those are the storages in the web API. Like for example, session storage means the storage that um, uh, I mean we can store some key value pairs that gets retained until that browser tab is closed. So
Mhm.
and so it maintains the data, that storage information, until that for one particular browser tab. If you are opening another browser tab, then it has its own session storage. Whereas local storage is like it's throughout, but we need to explicitly clear it off if we have to remove that. Like it can be used within multiple tabs as well.
Okay. So, okay. So if I use a footer above header in the HTML, then what will happen?
It's not a problem, but it's like these tags, footer or header, are semantic tags which like when you read a HTML document, those give some meaning to them, but it doesn't mean that we need to use only this above or this below, but it's just for our readability or something.
Okay. So what are the web workers do we have? Do you know any web workers?
No, I haven't read.
Okay. Okay. We'll move to CSS. So with Angular, what type of CSS extension you are using?
SAS, CSS I have used.
Okay. So what is CSS?
Mm, I don't know the full form or something, but
No, no. I'm
like
asking features, not the full.
yeah, okay. So it is like you can create some variables, you can create mixins in them to reuse those mixins across. This is one of the functionality that we have.
Yes. Any other preprocessors do you know of CSS?
Less is one more thing it's there.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. So can you write down some small example to create a div at the center of the page?
Okay.
You can
So
share your screen.
oh, is my screen getting shared?
Yes, yes.
Can I do it here only in the mid chat or
No,
no?
no. Open online editor. I cannot see your screen. It is blank
Is
showing.
it? Sharing it already. Screen share desktop. Is it getting shared now?
Yes.
Okay. For example, I have this. Okay, I have this tab already. Mm, I have this body.
You can remove this. We don't require it.
I can put this styles. Okay. For example, I have, mm, now I have my div. It should be background color, for example, blue, and I want to center align, so I can use position absolute. I think top 50 and left 50 if we give it to them. Yes.
Is it really center of the page?
Mm, yeah, top 50, left 50. At least I think we can translate x and y. Um, mm, yeah.
505 you have written.
Mm.
Okay.
So it
Any
will translate with x and y. Yeah.
yeah, any other method do you know?
In that case, like
No, just tell me. You don't need to
uh,
write.
we can create use flexbox like for
Hmm.
this display flex align items to center, justify content I think to center.
Okay. Okay. What is the specificity in CSS?
Like the kind of things that we use to specify CSS, like ID, we can define the selectors for the CSS, like its name, ID, class, etc. If we are specifying with ID, then it has a higher specificity. So that takes more precedence over class specifier or something. So
Okay.
if we want that to be particularly coming in for sure, I mean, if that is not aligned, then we can increase the specificity.
Yes. Okay. We'll move to Angular now. Okay. So can you please tell me difference between navigate and navigate by URL in Angular?
Navigate and navigate by URL. I think I haven't used this. I'm not aware. Both are for navigation, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I
Which
mean,
one you
by
have?
its name, I haven't used actually.
Okay. So none of them use.
Oh, yeah, none of them.
So how can you route your your application in the Angular?
We use routings to change the view component that is being rendered.
Correct. Okay.
Mm,
So while okay, so you have home and some dashboard, and
mm,
right now you want to go to the home. So how can you
mm.
go to? How can you write that route that I'm asking?
Route we define path as slash and component that needs to be loaded.
And you need to write some anchor tag as well.
Path and component. In the route definition, I'm specifying
Yeah,
this.
that is correct.
Hmm.
So how when you click on something, how
Hmm.
that will know that I have to move to this route that I'm asking now?
Okay. The button, then we give we use router view in the component and in the component template, and in the script part something I'm not able to recollect.
No problem.
Yeah,
Okay. So what is async pipe in the Angular?
I think that is used to call a synchronous functionality.
What type of synchronous?
Async functionality.
Do we write async function in Angular?
Mm, no.
Okay. Okay. So suppose I have a backend API
Mm,
that giving me data of 10 users that I
okay.
want to show in the HTML with Angular. So what are the steps I need to follow to get that data from backend to UI?
Like we create a
Hmm.
service file, and within that service we'll have that method to get the users, and we invoke the API there, async await, and it can return observable or promise. And we inject that service into the component using injectable, and within the component injectable, iterate injectable. So we say that we are using that instance, and we can call the method of that service using that injectable, I mean using that instance of the service. And yeah, we subscribe to it. If we are returning an observable, that we subscribe to the changes that it gave, and we perform the next actions.
Okay. What is pure pipe and impure pipe?
Mm, no, I don't think so. I have used them. I'm not sure.
Okay. Have you worked on Angular material as well?
Oh, at the beginning, yes, but I don't know much. That is used for UI.
Yes. Okay. So what are the providers in the Angular?
Providers in Angular. I'm not sure with the context. What do you mean, providers?
Okay. So when you create one service,
Mm.
you have to pass somewhere else before utilizing that. So do you know where we add that?
Yes, within the class, within the module,
Yeah, correct.
Angular module.
Okay. What is the interceptor in Angular?
It's like it is a mechanism that intercepts every API HTTP call and response in between. So it's like it can be used to pass some authentication keys to the API.
Okay.
So for every call, it intercepts it between it. It acts a middleware between every call. So it
Mhm.
intercepts in between, and it adds the extra things to it and sends it.
What is the auth guard?
Um, auth card, it is used like for a particular to show a particular route to a particular user or not. Authenticate the routes to a particular user. We use it.
Yes. Okay. So I have okay, so question is related to how we can communicate between two different sibling. Okay. So I have one component A and component B. Okay. Suppose in component A I have variable some value with 10. Okay. And that value I have to update in component 2 dynamically. How can I do that?
Mm, because both has the same parent, or
Yes.
maybe like emit that from child 1 to parent and then pass it as a props to the child B, or like use service in between.
Okay. So how can we use service with it?
Like uh, create a service, it's a function, inject that service into both of the child components, and use that methods.
Okay. So if I create one service, okay, common service dot ts something, okay,
Mhm.
and when I updating that value in the service, how the component B will know that something is updated over there? How that will happen?
Like if we have updated, then trigger the return that as an observable or something, and we subscribe it in the other component.
For that, do you know any RHS operator is there for that? We use that behave as a subscriber as well and observable as well.
Subscriber as well, observer as well. Subject and these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think subject.
Okay, so you can do one thing. You
Hmm.
can emit new value from component A. Okay, as soon as
Hmm.
that value get trigger, your subscription get notified in the tab 2 or a component B. So get the latest value from there. So you will emit the value from A and you will subscribe to the B at the time.
Okay.
But then,
Okay.
okay, what is content projection in Angular?
Mm, not sure.
Okay, what is view encapsulation in Angular?
Uh, Encapsulating a component, I think, with its binding together its data and all of this.
Oh, it is not related to data.
Not sure.
Okay. What is difference between eager loading and lazy loading?
Eager loading is like you're loading upfront, like when it is built, the component has been loaded. But lazy loading is when you're routing to that particular route, then only
Mhm.
the file gets imported. That component gets imported in
That module.
it. Yeah, that module. Sorry.